Hi grade 12s, I hope you're ready for our section today on diversity, continuity and change. And today we're going to be focusing in great depth on the concepts of natural selection and artificial selection. So let's start with natural selection. A principle of natural selection is that better adapted individuals or varieties within a species are more likely to survive for longer periods, and therefore, because their lifespan is longer, they produce more offspring. Characteristics that are useful are selected for, and this results in what we call stronger or fitter individuals. This doesn't necessarily mean, you need to remember, stronger in terms of muscles. It means better suited or fitter for that particular environment. So the genes that produce these fit characteristics increase in frequency in the population's gene pool, whereas characteristics that are harmful are selected against. The weaker individuals produce less offspring, and so the frequency of that gene decreases in the population. Remember our example of the red and green shelled beetles. We said that originally these red and green shelled beetles were kind of randomly distributed in the environment, in the population, because there was no benefit from being green or red. But if we introduced something into that environment, such as a population of birds that could only see red, it suddenly becomes a whole lot more healthy to be green, because that way the birds aren't going to see you and eat you. And so more green individuals survive. They live longer lifespans and they make more offspring. And of course, those offspring carry the gene for green shells. If you are green shelled, you are fitter. You are equipped with better or fitter genes that help you to adapt to those particular environmental circumstances. Remember, if it wasn't a bird that could see red, but a lizard that could only see green that came into our environment, the situation here in our little example would be very, very different. It would then be fitter to have red shells than green shells. So it all depends on what the circumstances of the environment are as to what becomes fitness, what qualifies for an organism to be fit in the environment. And natural selection of the stronger or the fitter individuals over the weaker ones drive that process of evolution. The concept, natural selection, is very closely associated with this idea of biological fitness. Biologists use the word fitness to describe how good or successful a particular genotype is at leaving offspring in the next generation, relative to how good other genotypes are. So the genotypes that are evident in great numbers or large frequencies in following generations are going to be those genotypes that are the fittest. But of course, we need to remember that fitness is relative. A genotype's fitness depends on the environment. The fittest genotype during an ice age is probably not the fittest genotype once the ice age is over. So this population of now predominantly green beetles, where green is seen as being fit, will no longer be fit, as I said, if a lizard moves into the environment that can only see green, because then the green organisms would be targeted. Fitness is a very handy concept because it puts everything that matters to natural selection, like survival, mate finding and reproduction, all into one idea. You are fit if you're going to be able to produce offspring that carry those fit genes themselves, and that you're going to live long enough to produce lots of fit offspring. Remember, we said that the fittest individual is not necessarily the strongest, fastest, or biggest. It's the one that is able to survive, find a mate, produce offspring, and ultimately leave its generation, the next generation, with its genes. And therefore, a key element of natural selection is competition, because each species produces more offspring than can survive, and it's only a limited number that will survive, and it'll be those organisms that are fit that will survive. More after the break.